Thanks for tuning in. It's exciting. I'm sure if you guys haven't noticed yet, we have done a little changes on our channel. Frank, I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit of these changes that we have just made.
Yeah, so as you can see, we ended up changing our name to Narrow Exchange now. We were just debating on wanting to upgrade our name because Alter Bros is cool, and we thought about it like at the middle of the night. And it was just a quick little, hey, this is an idea. But getting into more into depth of what we want to go with for this channel and just wanted to do it more faith and finance based. So narrow exchange was more fitting. Just to give a little background of kind of the idea behind the name. So narrow, as in the Bible, it says there's only one way to heaven. It's only a narrow way to heaven, and then exchange being as like the banks and everything, right? Like everything we trade on is on exchange. So yeah, just a little wordplay right there. But yeah, so now we got a new name, Narrow Exchange.
The topic of today, as you guys can see at the title, um, is if is investment a sin? When I came up with this idea, so it's not the idea, but this is the results that I of my research that came up, and it reads like this: the concept of whether investment is a sin depends heavily on the specific religious or ethical framework you're examining, as different traditions have varied perspectives on wealth, money, and economics activity. All right, um, where I'm focused in whether sin, how much of an impact is investment, and how does it relate to sin, or does it even relate to sin? I know that in Christianity, it's not really labeled a sin in the Bible. At least, not that if you guys know any verse in the Bible that says investment is a sin in the Bible, please direct that or put it in the chat. But it does encourage stewardship. That's what it does. At least that's what I kind of got the idea of it. Frank, I don't know if you want to bring up on your side what was your um, results on your end.
My thought about the whole investment being a sin, or at least is investment in a sin. One thing that I was dealing with when I was growing up was just that back and forth with wanting to learn about money, right? Wanting to learn about investing or wanting to learn how to make money other than working. And every time I tried to look into it, or I try to start thinking about looking into it, my conscience would start thinking and questioning, dang, so you're gonna read and learn about money, but you're not gonna read the word? You're not gonna learn about God, or you're not gonna study God's word? Like, you're not gonna be more in relation with Him? And I would always have this back and forth, this battle in my head, where I end up just not doing anything. I'm just stuck. And so I don't keep learning about money. I don't keep learning about God. I just stuck. And for years, it's been like this. For years, right? And so now I got to this point where learn about money, but to give it all to God. And it's not even a balance. It's not the same level type. It's God is first. God is first. God is above all. God is our foundation. God is our rock. And on top of that, grow in my financial wisdom, in my understanding and learning about how to use money, how to be a good steward of money, but also how to invest and how to grow wealth. Ultimately, the Bible says that it tells us to leave wealth for the next generation, for our generations to come, and that's what I plan to do. I plan to have that wealth that will go over to my kids, and then teach them also, starting from now, so that they can start from a higher level than what I'm starting from, and then they can continue to steward the wealth, and then it'll go to generation to generation. But putting God first and all. And so I finally came to that piece of like, it's not about having both. It's about God is all. There is no side by side match, right? God is all. And on top of that, okay, let's learn how to invest. Let's learn how to make money. Let's learn how to steward our finances. Let's learn how to get out of debt, not be consumers, and just not be chasing money.
Okay, absolutely. That's really really good. One of the things that I came up with, and it's a story, or how they like to put it out in the Bible, parable. I don't know if that's correct.
Parable, yeah.
Yeah, a parable from the Bible that stood out towards me was about the talents, or at least that's what that's the title of it that I got in it, and this comes from the verse from the book of Matthew, chapter 25th, verses 14 to 30. Frank, do you mind sharing that with us, please?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read verse 14. Again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in proportions to their abilities. He then left on his trip. And then we could skip down to 19, and it says, after a long time, their master returned from his trip and called them to give an account of how they had used his money. The servant to whom he had entrusted the 5 bags of silver came forward with 5 more and said, Master, you gave me 5 bags to invest, and I have earned 5 more. Master was full of praise. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. The servant who had received the 2 bags of silver came forward and said, Master, you gave me 2 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 2 more. Master said again, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. Then the servant with the 1 bag of silver came and said, Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in earth. Look, here is your money back. But the master replied, you wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest on it. Then he ordered, take the money from his servant and give it to the one with the 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away.
And what can we learn from this? We can see that from this, we learn that the Bible is expecting individuals to wisely manage and grow what they've been giving.
Yeah, the Bible, God tells us to just be good stewards of his money. And even in verse 21 really wraps it up all together, right? Like, but from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. And if you take that, you kind of just compare it to in today's life, in today's world, just in today's age right now. If you think, okay, you take the dollar, right? And the dollar, due to inflation, is starting to be worth less and less. So people that only just put their money in the savings and think that's the safe way, that's a safe bet, in the future they're gonna come to find out that just because they have their money in the savings doesn't mean that they're gonna be able to take that dollar and do a lot with it. People back in the day, and this was a different type of savings account, but pension funds, like pension funds, 401ks, all of those are basically like different versions of a savings account. And now with inflation going up, these companies, they can't even pay out these pensions. They can't really pay out the 401ks. It's just, that's why pensions don't even exist anymore. Like, I think it stopped since like around 1970s, because companies are not going to have money to be able to pay you out, basically. And so that's why a lot of people now, unfortunately, they're struggling. They're coming to the retirement, and then just to find out, man, I'm going to have to work. I'm going to have to work a little side job, or, a part-time job, because I don't have money in the savings. Like, my retirement plan just took a dump, right? And so they did nothing with it. They honestly didn't. Now again, all of this, it has to do with the way we were taught when we grew up. Schools don't teach you how to be financially literate. They don't. School teaches us how to be employees, how to listen, how to not be creative, how to be scared of failing. Because what happens when you fail in class? What happens if you fail a test? They put you down. They say you need more help. You say you're never gonna make it anywhere in life if you continue to fail, right? They put you down for failing. So now as adults, we're scared of failing. We want to take the safe route. So we want to get a good job, and they encourage that at school, right? Get good grades, go to get a good career, right? Go to university, get a good career, a safe career, and we're coming to a point to a realization that that's not the case. It's really not the case. Maybe at one point it was, but now it's really not the case. And a lot of people are making money in different type of ways, and so now it's time for us to start investing, start doing something with what the small that God is allowing us to be able to invest with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't agree with you more when it comes to uh, following that path, going to school, thinking that following that pathway will get you richer or much closer to the freedom. But that's actually it's actually making you certified to enter the rat race. You're entering with like a certificate that I spent so many years and I got in so much debt. That's instead of giving you that freedom, instead of giving you that exit door of the rat race, you're actually digging yourself deeper into the rat race. I'm not saying it's not impossible at that point, but from what I'm seeing, and from what I'm seeing in today's life, many of the graduates, many people that went to school, dedicated their time in school, put in their efforts, studying and being at school and getting top grades. Sometimes they come out, they graduate, certificate, yay, celebration for like a week or two. But then when they come to reality, once their the time is up to look for a job, because they didn't spend time on looking or even looking for or even working at all. Sometimes we have people in schools or in McDonald's. Sad to say, sometimes you see people in McDonald's. Sometimes you see people in shoe departments, Macy's, retail stores with a certificate on their background, working just to survive, because the economy, it's not balancing out with whatever time they take.
There are some. Yeah, I know there's some majors and universities that you really can't do nothing with it.
Absolutely.
And people don't know this. They just I'm gonna get a major in this, and I'm gonna go do this type of job, and then realize that, well, for one, maybe that type of job really doesn't pay as much as you think it would pay. Two, maybe it's not as available as you think it is. And then three, even if it is available, they want to get seniors or like level 2, level 3 type engineers, and not just somebody straight out of university, right? And so, but even more so, more back to the finance part about it though, it's just the debt that they get into.
Absolutely.
Right? It's the debt. It's like, let's say they do get that good job, right? Let's say the doors open and they are blessed with that job. But now they're in debt. They're in debt from school loans, right? Unless they were very, very smart and they got a scholarship, then that'd be amazing, right? But for a lot of people, that's not the case. And so now they're in debt. And now they're in debt. And then they go and they get their place. And then, they probably met somebody and then they moved in together. So now they want to buy a home. And so now they have more debt, If they're even able to buy a home. Nowadays, homes are super expensive. And so, but let's say just they go and rent a place, right? And then filled with furniture. They buy their cars, so more debt on top of debt, right? And so they start their adulthood just drowning in debt. And now they're racing to try to get out of this debt. And then one thing, the way Robert Kiyosaki, the one that made the game, the cash flow game, the way he actually put the rat race, the way he explained it was, we have our debt, and we have our job, and we're working so we could pay off the debt. And then we pay off the debt, and now because we have more space in the credit card, now we want to buy something else. We buy something else. We max out our credit card again. I said debit, but I meant credit card. We max out the credit card again, and here we go again. Oh, now I gotta work extra hours because I gotta pay that off. You know, I gotta put in more hours because I gotta pay it down. Right? I gotta pay it off, and now you're paying it off, and then there's a lot of debt, and then these debt consolidations start coming around, and then they say, hey, you can put all your debt in one, lower the APR, you know, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And now you clean up your debt, you put it a little bit more organized, you clear some credit cards, and now they put it all in one payment for you, all nice and packaged, and you're like, okay, cool, you know what I mean? I'm cool now. But what happens? Now you have a credit card that's no debt on it. And so you go, you know, you like, something piques your interest, you start buying, here we go again. And we start purchasing stuff, and now we max out this credit card again, the one that you just put on another credit card or another little thing so that you can pay it off. And now here we go again. I got to work overtime. I got to work all these extra hours. I got to pinch a little bit here and there so I can like pay off my debt. And that's the rat race. That's this rat race that we're just running in circle, and we're just living paycheck to paycheck because we keep buying tools, we keep buying all this other stuff, and we don't take the time to invest and learn about, for one, how to be more stable with our finances, but two, how to even buy what's known with assets.
Absolutely, that's one thing. It's a never ending cycle. You know how there's like the cycle of life? This is the cycle of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the more money we get or we obtain, the more we dig ourselves in. There might be a period where you might feel like, oh, at liberty, all right, I feel free from debts just for like a little bit, but something is always gonna come up that catches someone's interest, and you fall for it, and there goes another big debt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad to say, but that's true. I mean, we've heard of people that have won lottery tickets worth, you know, millions of dollars, but the same way that they got that money, the same way they went crazy, they spent it. Why? Because they were not taught how to manage their money. They were not, you know, taught in school like, hey, once you receive a big chunk of money, you should maybe invest in it.
Mm-hmm.
On the contrary, they actually, what they did, spend the time watching a bunch of movies, media. That's where they're getting all these ideas. Like, once I get a bunch of money, I'm gonna buy myself a car, and not just any car. I'm gonna give me the biggest, most expensive car so everyone else can see, and I'm gonna get my biggest house, and and it's all that's going in their mind is just spending, so everybody in the world can see how much money I have gotten. But then the same way that it's like a what is it, like a 15-minute fame,
mm-hmm.
to put it in
5 seconds of fame, I think that
yeah, pretty much. And it's like, yeah, people might be applauding, and yeah, you got the money, but the same way that you grab that money, and with all that spending, it's the same way you are not keeping track of it, because it's not making money back at you. You're just spending and spending and spending and spending and spending, and you're not getting anything out of it. You're not investing anything out of it.
And so, why we're starting to get into this, and why we're here, why even talk about money, right? Why even talk about investment? Why even talk about this and even connecting it with just our faith in God, right? That's the question. Because you might be listening and you might be thinking, okay, well, what's your point? What's your point? And our point is, I want us to open our eyes, open our mind, and understand. For one, we need to move. For one, in direction of God's will for our lives. Yes, and we need to start stepping up. And if you have a family, right? If you're a man in the household, like head of the household, we also need to start stepping up and taking care of our family. And one way of doing that is making sure that they're provided for. Now, again, money is not everything, and I understand that God is everything. God is the only one. But money is a tool. Money is a tool that we need in this world to. I wouldn't even want to say survive, because honestly, like, God can make anything, for us to survive. But money is a tool in this world that we can use to be a blessing to others, to be a blessing in our own home, but to be a blessing to those around us, to be a blessing to our church family. And it's like there was a dream almost that I wanted to, accomplish when I was back when, and I always had the vision of buying the church a van for the youth. And maybe it didn't happen before, but who says it won't happen in the future? I can still, maybe one day I can buy that van. But that was just one vision that I used to have. But the point is, like, we need to step up. We need to step up. We need to start actually understanding and just taking accountability for, okay, how am I with my money? What do I do with my money? Right? But again, and I repeat this because this is where the faith and finance part comes in, right? We read out of Matthew 1:6, 17. It says, teach those who are rich in this world not to be proud and not to trust in their money, which is so unreliable. Their trust should be in God, who richly gives us all we need for our enjoyment. Tell them to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and generous to those in need, always being ready to share with others. By doing this, they will be storing up their treasure as a good foundation for the future so that they may experience true life. And so that's where I come and I say, we put God first. Put God first of all. He's our rock. But he also calls us to be good stewards of our money and to be able to bless others, be a blessing to others. And we can do that financially. We can do that, emotionally. There's other ways to serve. It's not always just about money. But again, our focus is our finance, but our faith in our finance.
In Leviticus 25, verse 35 to 37, it instructs the Israelites not to charge interest or profits from the fellow Israelites who has fallen into poverty. Instead, they should provide support and allow the impoverished person to live among them as brothers. This demonstrates the importance of compassion and generosity within the Israelite community and reflects God's own character. In which, like you were saying, instead of putting people down, we should help out. We should help out each other. And
Yeah, we should lift each other up, and we should encourage each other, and motivate each other, and honestly motivate each other. And that's my purpose. That's what I want for all our viewers that watching this. That's what I want for all of you, to just get motivated, and to not be stuck in this day-to-day, paycheck to paycheck, worried about, what am I gonna do, tomorrow. Now, I'll give you an example, right? Now, for one, and again, back to how the verse I just read, right? The trust should be in God, who richly gives all we need for our enjoyment, right? But I can substitute that word enjoyment and just substitute it with like our needs, right? And when I was doing dominoes, I literally had a moment where my account always kept hitting zero, and I talked about this in our first video. My account always kept hitting zero, you know. And I was doing dominoes, and I was frustrated, and I was just like, man, why? Like, why? And I know why. I didn't make that much money, and I would spend more than what I was making, right? But I was just being frustrated, right? And I literally pulled over and I just broke down crying in my car. Like I'm being vulnerable. I'll admit it. Like I broke down crying because I was frustrated. I was like, God, like why? Like why am I always broke? Like you know, like why am I always broke? Like why? Like how am I gonna do it? Like where am I gonna be able to just like get, you know, make sure the bills are paid? Like, you know, I like I need to, you know, I just need your help, right? Like I need, you know, some guidance. Like what am I gonna do? You know? And in that moment, it just God just put in my heart, and it was like, basically he's like, I got you, right? I just like, you know, like that. He's like, you know, I got you. And I'm not gonna lie, like it was, you know, for years after that, every single time, you know, and I used to think this was bad luck, even though luck doesn't exist, right? But you know what I mean? Just to say, like every time I'll get some like a money or a refund of some sort or something, I would get a big bill, right? And then I would always joke, I'm like, man, every single time I get money, I always got some bill to pay, right? And I would, you know, it would be annoying.
It's sorry to cut you off. It sounds like money is magnet to bills.
So that's how I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I thought about it. Until God put in my heart really to kind of think of it in a different way. And it was like, God knows that bill is coming. And so he's providing that way to cover that bill. And when I shifted my mindset to think and start thinking of it and seeing it like that, I'm just like, God, this is just like how you told me. I got you. Every single time I go, you know, I get a check from something, a refund from something, a bill comes, it's covered. I got you. Every time I'm doing Uber and I start getting some tips extra, or I get like a big ride or something, and I make just what I need to cover the bills that's gonna be coming up, I got you. And God's been always with me just through all my years, and has always been just allowing me to be able to provide for the family. His words have just stuck with me saying, I got you. So the trust isn't in the money. My trust is in God.
Absolutely.
So much so that even my wife, she'll be getting annoyed sometimes because she's just like, man, like you just don't care. You just don't care. Sometimes she'll feel like I just don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's not that I don't care. It's that time and time again, God has proven that he has my back and he will make a way, and the bills get paid, and we still have money to get food on the table time and time again. So it's not that I don't care. It's that I know God's got me. Now, again, I'm not being reckless.
No.
I'm not going and, you know, spending like crazy, you know. I'm being good steward, you know, with my finance, right?
Absolutely.
But when I need it, God's got me. And God has been so amazing with me. And I know he's been amazing with you.
Yeah.
I know he's been amazing with you. But sometimes we don't see it. We see it. We think through the flesh, and we see it through the flesh.
Mm-hmm. Which is why is one of the things that I am so grateful, because we have many events that have happened in my life, and many times that I felt trapped, that I felt like there was no exit. But the moment that I take time alone, and I just begin praying, and then having that one-on-one talk with God, brings in such a peace, such comfort in me, that everything around me, no matter what's going on, it's just like, I just look up, and all I have to say is just thank you. Like, I'm just so grateful, because I know that he has it, that he is gonna take over and he's gonna take care of anything that I'm facing at that moment. And it's been proven. It's been proven in my life. It's been proven in the life of my family members. Been proven in times that we had faced challenging times, and it seems like a miracle, but it just big blessing comes over our life, and it's just like, wow. All we can say is just thank you, and it just gives us that trust in God. And no matter what we're going, no matter what situation we're facing, He's always going to be there.
Yeah, amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll leave you with this. We're going to read off the book of Matthew 6:33, and it reads, "Seek the kingdom of God above all else, and live righteously, and He will give you everything you need." And so, as we wrap this episode up, I encourage you guys to, for one, just seek God, seek Him, and seek Him not only because of your finances, just seek Him because He's our Heavenly Father. He loves us, and He gave His Son Jesus to die on the cross for us. And so, the same as He died for us, I want to lay my life down and like live for Him, and taking it to our finances, and again taking it all the way back to just, is investment a sin? I don't think so. I don't think that investment is a sin.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything, God calls us to be good stewards of our money, to invest, to grow wealth, to leave wealth for our generation and our future generations, for our kids and their kids and their kids' kids. And so God calls us to just be better, to just be bold, and to be with Him.
And no matter who you are or where you're sitting at, just know that He loves you, no matter what. Stay safe out there, guys.